Hey guys, it's Redox. Welcome back to another Teamfight Tactics video, and I'm going to be talking about the God tier champions in the current meta. These are the S tier champions, and this website is once again the best website for any tier list information. It's tftactics.gg. I'll put it in the description below, so go ahead and check it out. Now let's talk about the first one, which is Chogath, and this is the best build, or one of the best builds you can have on Chogath here, which is the Frozen Heart, Wormogs, and the Titanic Hydra. He's a Void Brawler, has tons of health, and has tons of CC with his ability, which is called Rupture. Rupture also does a ton of damage, and this is why Chogath is really strong. You don't even essentially need to have Brawlers or Voids in this comp. You can just have Chogath for the pure damage and AoE of Rupture, and Rupture's radius is so big. What happens is that it's almost going to hit all the champions on the board, and the Rupture has a two second stun as well, as it knocks enemies up and then they fly down. So within that 2 seconds, which is a very long time, those champions cannot fight back or do anything, and also take tons of damage from Rupture. And that's exactly why Chogath is so good, and he has also a ton of health even without the Brawler bonus. And like I said, you don't necessarily need to go with Voids, but Void is a really good composition with Chogath, but he's a very good standalone champion by himself, as he aids the team in tons of CC, and he can also be a tank for the team, and he also does a ton of damage with his Rupture. And that's exactly why Chogath is a God tier champion right now. The second God tier champion is Mr. Draven. And why is Draven a God tier champion? Well, there's not much need to be said on this, because Draven has consistently been the strongest champion currently in Teamfight Tactics. First of all, his skill is still very, very powerful. Although his skill got nerfed and now it costs 50 mana to get his spinning axes up, his attack multiplier adds up, he attacks faster, and he just does a ton of damage. Not only that, his origin is the best origin in the game, which is Imperials. If you have 4 different Imperials on the board, Draven gets double the damage no matter what. And guess what? If Draven gets double the damage with an attack multiplier on his spinning axes, he's going to be killing things very, very quickly on the board. And he's also a Blade Master, and Blade Master right now is currently an A tier list class. Blade Masters are underrated, and they're very, very strong. When you have 3 different Blade Masters on the board, you get a 45% chance to add another attack per attack. That's basically almost 50% chance to attack twice in a single stroke. So how powerful is that? That's very, very strong. So you give Draven double the damage and Imperial bonus, and you give him a Blade Master comp, and he's going to be throwing 2 axes per attack, and he's going to be doing double the damage, and he's going to be multiplying his attack and attack faster with his spinning axes. This is exactly why Draven is overpowered right now, because of his origin, and his Blade Master class composition just goes really, really well together. Plus he is a ranged carry, and his skill is so amazing, making Draven, I think, the god of all god champions currently in the meta. This guy is single-handedly the strongest champion currently still in the game, and I still think he needs a little bit of a rework or a little bit of a nerf on his skill as well. And this is the recommended item build for Draven here: Sword of Divine, Infinity Edge, and Rapid Fire Cannon. So he gets to have double the range, and he does tons of crit damage with high attack speed with the Sword of Divine, making him very, very difficult to remove off the board. The third God tier champion is Gnar. He's a wild Yordle and a shapeshifter. His recommended item build here is a Titanic Hydra, the Dragon's Claw, and Phantom's Dancer. So basically, Gnar is going to be a tank, a very, very beefy frontliner, and so that's why he gets a Titanic Hydra, but he also gets attack speed from it, and also he gets attack speed from Phantom's Dancer, but he gets a cloth, he gets a chain vest from it, so he gets some armor, and the Dragon's Claw will make him very, very resistant to active skills. So Gnar is going to be very, very beefy, very hard to kill, and he's going to be doing tons of damage. So this build will almost guarantee Little Gnar to turn to Mega Gnar in most games, and he's going to be very, very difficult to remove off the board. Not only this, Gnar is one of the few champions that comes with 2 origins, and he's a Wild and Yordle, so he has a lot of flexibility. And also, Wild is one of the best origins right now in the game, as the Wild origin can possibly give a Guinsoo's Rage Blade to all your units on the board if you have 4 different Wilds on the board. And his class is also a shapeshifter, which is not too bad. It's okay, but there you go. That's another reason why he's so flexible and strong, because you could either go Wilds or Yordles, or you can go both. The next champion is Kayle. Kayle is a noble and knight, and her recommended item build here is the Shojin's Spear, Gwinsu's Rage Blade, and Phantom Dancer. And this build will allow her to attack really fast and spam her Divine Judgment on all those weakened ally units you have on the board, making her very, very annoying, as she also has a ranged attack. So she's going to be sitting in the back, not in the front. She's going to be shielding her weakest allies on the board, letting them survive longer and deal more damage, making Kayle extremely, extremely strong. She is indeed the guardian, the true guardian angel for your team comp. Now, Kayle's noble origin is actually not one of the best origins in the game, as most would have thought. The reason why is the noble origin is very good in the early game, very bad in the mid game, and then very good in the late game, only if you have 6 nobles on the board. If you do not have 6 different nobles on the board, this composition will not work for you in the late game, and what's going to happen is you're going to take too much damage trying to get 6 nobles on the board, and you'll end up losing. So that's why the nobles are actually no longer S or A tier class or origin. The noble is actually currently sitting at the B origin list, because it's all about RNG and luck. Can you actually get all 6 nobles at the end of the game? Plus, you can't build a noble item from the spatula, so you must collect all 6 different nobles in the game, or you'll never have that strong comp at the end game. So while this comp is good in the early game, it just starts to fall off very, very badly after that. And at the end of the day, you're going to have good RNG if you ever want to go for 6 different noble champions. However, Kayle's noble synergy can still be used to build a team together with Glacials, and this is one of the strongest team compositions in the game. Basically, you have Kayle, Sejuani, and Sejuani being the strongest Glacial champion in the game, which we will get next to. But there's going to be Kayle, Sejuani, Leona, and you can have a third noble of your choice depending on which noble you got the most in the game. So you have the 3 noble bonus. So you'll get at least 1 random ally that gets 100 armor, and you'll also have Braum as well. So if you have at least Braum, Sejuani, Kayle, Leona, and Ashe, and rest are going to be fillers, you're going to be doing well. So you're going to have the Knight bonus activated for Kayle because you have at least a Sejuani. So Kayle will get some survivability with extra armor with Sejuani, because Sejuani is also a Knight. But you'll also get the 3 noble bonus with Kayle, Leona, and another noble unit. And then for the Glacials, of course, they're going to be combining with Kayle. So you're going to have the Glacial Stun as well. And Glacials are an S tier origin right now. And this build is so good because your champions get 40 armor from the Guardian Shield from Leona and Braum. So all your units are very tanky to start off. And not only that, Kayle, with this, if you have this kind of build, she can spam her Divine Judgment, so she can keep shielding all her units, and they'll all have a lot of armor to survive off in the beginning, so you're gonna wither your opponent down. And on top of that, you have the overpowered glacial stuns firing off from Sejuani and Ashe constantly. So basically, you have this very tanky team with the Leona and Braum's Guardian Shield, and you're gonna have Kayle's Judgment just shielding everybody, constantly spamming with her Spear of Shojin and her fast attack speed. And also, you're gonna have the Glacials stunning everybody else on the board. So this team seems almost quite invincible when you think about it. The next God tier champion we'll take a look at is Sejuani. And why is Sejuani so good? She's very similar to Chogath. She's tanky, and she also has a massive stun with Glacial Prison. I actually think Sejuani is better than Ashe, because Ashe by herself actually won't win games, but with Sejuani and her Glacial Prison, she's gonna be insane, and that's why she's currently in the S tier list and Ashe is in the A tier list. Sejuani's Glacial Prison starts at 3 seconds. That's a long stun duration, and after that it's 4 seconds, 5 seconds. So Chogath's Rupture is already at 2 seconds, but starting off with a 3-second stun, that's extremely difficult for anyone to deal with. And Glacial Prison is an AoE. It's going to hit multiple champions on the board, disabling your opponent's champions from fighting back. And that's what makes her so strong. Her Glacial Prison is overpowered right now. If it's better than Chogath's Rupture, it's already too strong, because Chogath's Rupture is very strong right now. Even a 2-second stun does quite a bit, but 3-second stun that scales into 4 and 5 seconds when she becomes a 2 and 3 stars, that's a little bit too strong. And it's not too hard to get Sejuani to 2 stars, and she's gonna already have this 4-second stun, which is way too long, and your opponents just don't have a chance to fight back. And once again, Sejuani will just work with the Glacial build, or you can build her with Kayle. Once again, you're gonna have this incredibly strong God tier team. The final champion on this list is Swain. He is an Imperial, Demon, and a Shapeshifter. This is the recommended build for him. It's a Hextech Gunblade. Dragon's Claw, and Phantom Dancer. So this item build right here will allow Swain to be very, very tanky, as Dragon's Claw will give him 83% magic resistance. Phantom Dancer will give him critical strike immunity with some armor and attack speed, so he attacks faster and transforms a lot quicker into his form. And the Hextech Gunblade will give him 25% lifesteal. That's going to work with his ability, and his ability is a life steal ability. This guy is very, very difficult to kill. And let's not forget, he is an Imperial bloodline, which means he's going to work with the Draven comp, Darius and Katarina, and he gets double the damage off that. Yeah. Once again, sounds a little bit overpowered here. He's going to be doing double the damage with his lifesteal bird form and his nuke when he goes back into his human. And also, he's a demon as well. So demons and Imperials actually go well together, where he gets 40% chance to mana burn when you only have just 2 demons on the board. The demon origin got a buff. It used to be just 30%, but now it starts at 40% chance to mana burn, which is quite high. 40% is almost 1 in 2 attack where Swain will mana burn his opponents, disabling them from doing any active skill damage. So Swain, once again, has a really nice another origin going on for him. And finally, he's a shapeshifter, so you can build shapeshifters with him. So there you go, guys. This is the current champion S tier list. The gods of all champions in Teamfight Tactics, and undeniably, in my opinion, the strongest champion right now is still Draven, because Draven just does so much damage if you can get that Imperial Blade Master comp going and you get the right build on him. He is currently the god of all gods. But there you go, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. Remember to check out my stream on Twitch as well, and check out my other videos. Hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.